Let's face it, there's one driver on the F1 grid that currently in 2023 gets the most stick out of any of the 20 drivers, and that driver of course is Lance Stroll. Poor guy. But in my opinion, I think we were wrong about how bad Lance Stroll actually is. So for those of you who actually don't know, Lance Stroll recently had surgery and he broke both his wrists and broke a toe. I don't know how you break a toe, but I guess he did that. You know what he did? He went on to compete in the Bahrain Grand Prix, in the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix, in the Australian Grand Prix, etc, etc. And he wasn't too far off Fernando. But let me tell you, even before this weekend, I have always sort of liked Lance Stroll. Yes, some could say he's a lifetime contract, but when you see some of the interviews and stuff he's done off the grid, he seems like a really nice and likable guy. But I think it's an extremely bad driver pairing for Lance Stroll anyway, because he's up against Fernando Alonso, a two-time world champion. And I don't think we've ever seen anyone quite like Fernando, who's been this good his entire career. Okay, yes, maybe like Lewis or someone, but Fernando is just delivering. His prime might be now at, 42 years old. But yeah, he's an extreme talent, a two-time world champion, and arguably should be maybe a 6 or 7, depending on who you ask, maybe a 4 or 5, I don't know. But then there's Lance Stroll. And listen, a lot of people were giving him a lot of stick before Bahrain, even practice. They were like, Lance Stroll was not fit to drive. But, Felipe Drugovich, or there were even rumors going around that Sebastian Vettel, to be back in Aston Martin. And that competitive Aston Martin, imagine Fernando and Seb, that would be absolutely insane. But that's not what I'm talking about today. I'm just thinking that Lance Stroll is overlooked. Anything he does well is sort of like, even though he gets a top 5 or whatever, it's just because his dad pays for it and stuff. But I think if we get any other driver that we sort of rate that highly, I guess so if like a Zhou, for example, I say most people try to put maybe Zhou and Stroll on the same level from perception-wise. I think if they both got a top 5, then suddenly we're all like, Zhou's amazing. But if Lance does it, it's just, daddy's cash. It's like if Max or Charles or Lewis or even Fernando had 2 broken wrists and drove like they did in the Bahrain Grand Prix, then we'd be over the moon with how great a driver they are. But when Lance does it, we're sort of like, meh. But I think Lance Stroll deserves the respect he has. I think he's actually way better than we thought. I mean, yes, Fernando did say that he thinks that he could be a world champion one day when he first joined the team. I don't know if that's just Lance Stroll giving him an extra couple 100,000 just to say, you know what, just say my son's nice and a good driver. I think a lot of people discredit Lance because he's got a lifetime contract. And I fully believe that contract is now deserved. Yes, he's had his ups and downs. For example, we have the up of podium in Baku and Monza, of course the pole position in Turkey, so he's shown glimpses. And this year, despite his injuries, he's staying very close to Fernando. And I know a lot of people are saying, pay drivers, they're ruining the sport. We all know there are amazing drivers that started off as pay drivers. For example, Michael Schumacher, Sergio Perez, they were once just pay drivers who had to pay to get behind a wheel, or nowadays the likes of Lando Norris, whose dad's actually a multi-hundred millionaire or whatever. So either way, everyone has money. But seriously, some of these guys are incredible, and nobody compares them to pay drivers anymore. Unless, of course, you're talking about the parking lot outside the track. Then yeah, of course, they're still paying drivers. I think the only reason we have this is Lance Stroll hasn't always delivered. And I don't think in a long time we've seen someone ever actually buy an entire Formula 1 team for their son. So maybe that's why he gets the stick. But in my opinion, Lance Stroll is a very good driver, and he fully deserves to be on the F1 grid. So Lance Stroll, my guy, I owe you an apology. We were wrong about you. I think you could be a champion. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below.